So turn your microphone on, please.
Sorry. We'll start over. I call this meeting to order. I've asked Mr. Perkins to lead us in the prayer and the pledge, and we invite you to join us.
Let's pray. Almighty God, thank you for allowing us to live in a country where we enjoy many freedoms they don't have in other parts of the world. One of those freedoms is the ability to elect our people we want to represent us in government. Please help us to execute that duty with diligence, honesty, pride, and compassion. Give us guidance in the decisions we make. Bless everybody here today. Thank everyone for participating in this process. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. For those of you who have joined us today, we are launching a new system for our agendas and for interacting, so there may be a few missteps as we go along the way. I ask for your patience. We're, I guess, kicking and screaming into the 21st century. The first item of business is the adoption of the agenda. Does anyone have anything to add to the agenda? I see no speakers. I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as submitted.
Move the agenda.
Second.
Let's see. Do we have anyone who's going to do this? So on my screen.
Showing up where you can do a motion?
Let's see. Yeah.
Waiting.
I pressed tab to speak to make the motion. I guess that never came up on yours, and
I did too.
you don't have anything.
Well, I don't see anything here.
This is where we had to reset last week. So
give us a moment. We could always do it verbally, but we're going to have to get through this process anyway.
I pushed the speak as well to make the motion.
Yeah. Let me see if this will do. Okay, well, let's just do it verbally. There's a motion. Ms. Campbell, did you make a motion?
Yeah, second.
Okay, Mr. Perkins? Did you move it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I made a motion.
A motion by Mr. Perkins, a second by Ms. Campbell. Please vote. Okay, now it's showing moved by Mr. Perkins, seconded by Ms. Campbell.
Oh, yeah, now I see it.
Screen show up.
Yep. Well, not voting, but I see the motion in the second.
Yeah, that just popped up.
She filled that up manually. Should be a voting screen showing up.
Maybe you have to put that in first.
Not sure, but our software is not advancing to the next page for that. You should have a voting screen up in front of you, so.
Yeah,
I
shall we
guess we'll
just
do that
manually
by
vote?
voice vote and see if the next one shows up.
All right, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. It passes unanimously. Okay, we come now to public hearings. The first public hearing, and I'm not able to get this screen off. There we go. Adoption of a special resolution number SR 2159. That's A, and B will take them together. Adoption of special resolution number SR 21-60. And I have two people who have requested to speak on this, so I will first recognize Mr. Ajit Patel. And Mr. Patel, if you'll just give your name and address, press the speak button there so your microphone comes on.
Is that good?
Yes, good.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. Thank you, Chairman Benson and the board. I just come here to express a little bit of reservation and concern about the proposed increase. Several years ago, when ECUA needed to make improvements, move the facility from downtown up north, a lot of businesses, hotels especially, were hit with the sewer improvement fee. Maybe my recollection is bad, but when reading in the paper, this was supposed to be used to help fund that, but there was going to be some kind of, dusk or set sunset of these fees, but it turns out it's not going to happen now. And it's quite a sizable amount. I mean, personally, I'm paying $500-600 a month. A lot of these other folks are paying similar amounts. And comes a point where we accept it as a cost of business. And then a few years ago, we had another increase. And we feel that maybe the board needs to look at the businesses that employ all these people, that work hard, and, not be too harsh, and think about our bottom line as well here, because we're still continuing to be burdened with that sewer impact fee. That's never going away. And it's an incredibly large amount of money that we're paying. I'm not too sure what the reasoning, the rationale for the rate increase is, but please make it equitable. And please do not burden the business owners, especially the hotels, because we pay a significant amount. If you do a study, you will notice there are some hotels that pay almost as much in the sewer impact fee as they do on the water. And it's crazy. It really is. And just wanted to share that with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. Okay. On my screen, it says member speakers, and I see Dale Perkins and Vicki Campbell. I assume that is antique. Okay, good. I just wanted to recognize you. Thank you, Mr. Patel. And the next person to request to speak is Mr. Mitesh Patel.
Mitesh Patel, 4031 Stefani Road, Cantonment, Florida. Also, just to repeat, and I represent majority of the guys that are in here, hoteliers with AHOA and GCAA. That's our organization that's local. Our group owns roughly about 90% of the 70 or so hotels that are in Pensacola. Many of the guys sitting here are developers of the newer properties that you see in town, which, as many of you know, when a new business of any sort is being now requested to open, there's an upfront sewer impact fee that's also taken, which is now for hotels in the hundreds of thousands of dollars right off the bat. Several of my hotels all have the sewer impact fee and capital improvement fees. One of mine has a $900 fee. $300 is sewer improvement fee, $300 capital improvement sewer fee, a $300 capital improvement water fee. So if I don't use a single drop of water, I still owe $900 to you guys every month. So that's very steep. In 2020, you guys know with COVID, the hospitality industry was devastated. Occupancy was, everybody was barely hanging on to try to do what we can because business was just suffering so badly. And it's rough and it's tough in those times when you don't have the revenue coming in to justify these types of fees. We missed a boat when you guys voted on sewer improvement fee, and since then we've made it a point to make sure we keep track of what's going on at ECUA and kind of read up on what's going on, and if we read it, not to just sit back and say, oh, that can't happen to us, but to actually get involved and show up to these meetings and speak to you guys and try to say, hey, how can we work together to make it feasible? As you know, there's a lot of growth in Pensacola, and I get it. You guys have to have enough money to run your day-to-day business, and things are going. But I also see where I live off 9 Mile Road, there's apartments and houses and businesses popping up all over the place. So I can imagine if every single one of those businesses is paying several thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in impact fees, where's those funds going? We have to figure out a way to where this makes sense for the folks that are in business. And if we scare folks off, and if cost of doing business in Pensacola or Escambia County is too high, we're going to push them off to other counties. Those developers are going to come here and say, this doesn't make sense to do business here. It's too expensive. So my request to this board is that would you please be careful in how you evaluate increases, how trickle down. And of course, all of us live here in Pensacola. My house, the sewer improvement fee is a couple dollars, which I get it. It's not much. But when you compare $2 to versus $900, that's a huge increase. That's a huge difference. So for any business, I'm not saying cut mine down to $2, but I'm just saying it should be relevant to where it makes a little more sense on how hard businesses are being asked to take on the additional fees that ECUA may need. So just the request to the board that please keep that in mind for existing businesses and new businesses that may be coming to Escambia County. And we hope that you guys will take that into account when you make your decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. I see no more pink slips. Is there anyone from the board who wishes to speak? Because I don't see this. Okay. I don't see.
I've got a request to speak.
Okay.
I don't know if you see that on yours.
I've submitted a,
Perkins, did you have?
Yeah, I see your light on, Mr. Perkins.
I'm sorry, I did not turn my light on. I just clicked the screen, request to speak. I just thought you had.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing it, so I don't know why I'm not.
So I see 4 people on there, or 3.
All right, where are you clicking to see it, obviously?
Where it says speakers.
Yeah?
You click on that?
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I clicked on it before it didn't happen. Okay, I apologize. Mr. Perkins.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The speakers are 100% correct on this, and this is why. You know, I oppose that capital improvement fee when we did it, and there are a number of reasons, but a couple of the main reasons that impact them I want to stress. We did that capital improvement fee based on meter size. So based on the size of your meter, that determined your fee. Now, there are 2 groups that are inherently discriminated against in the way we did that fee. One is hotelers out on Perdido, Pensacola Beach, and in town, because we're a seasonal area and they have to have a big meter to meet peak demands. But most of the year, they may be at 25–40% occupancy. But when the rush comes, they have to have that big meter. So they're paying a fortune, $900 a month. Well, it may be $300 for that portion, or some portion, but they're paying a fortune because of the meter size, whether they use the water or not. So to me, that seemed fundamentally unfair. The other group that it really hurts are people in poor neighborhoods, older neighborhoods on a limited income. And the reason it hurts them is a lot of the older homes have the bigger meters, the bigger valves. And what we were told when we were adopting is, most people will be $5, $2.50 for water and $2.50 for sewer. Well, a ton of people in my district, it's $7.50 per water and $7.50 per sewer. So that's $15 a month in capital improvement fees. Now, somebody who's elderly, lives alone, poor, on Social Security, I always bring that person up because I've got them. And they try to take advantage of winter averaging and use as little water as possible to have some control over their finances and what they have to pay. But that 15% for them might be 50% of their bill, because they're trying to hold back on everything. They're trying to hold back on their water and sewer. So it really is, the way we've got that structured, I think is unfair, on the capital improvement fee. Now the sewer improvement fee for moving Main Street, I'd like to find out when that sunsets, because we've got to be coming somewhat close to it. It's not, within 5 years or so, but I think it may be within 5 to 10. And so I'd like, if the staff can look at that and see where that sunsets, because I'd like people to see light at the end of the tunnel. Now that sewer improvement fee, in my opinion, is some of the best money we ever spent. I mean, we moved that Main Street plant out of a hurricane-prone area. It allowed to revitalize all of downtown, created an economic boom in the area, gave us a safe, secure plant away from storm surge. I mean, if that plant had been destroyed by Ivan, which it very nearly was, we'd have been basically out. We'd have been unable to process sewage, and we'd been done, toast, you know. But not only did we do it, we had people screaming before, you know, we applied for a FEMA grant, and we got $165 million. Everybody was telling us, don't apply for that grant, you're wasting time, it's never going to happen. ECUA should just go ahead and do this. But everybody out here would be on the hook for that $165 million on that sewer improvement fee if we didn't. So that's why the sewer improvement fee is as small as it is. And additionally, Ms. Benson's daughter got $20 million from the state legislature for that. The city kicked in $10 to $20 million, and the county threw in $6 million cash. So of that money, you know, of that total project budget of $335 million, you know, about $200 million of it were costs that we were able to deflect from our ratepayers. So that was a, you know, that was an incredible project. Now these federal projects, they audit those, and you have to pay back a lot of money on a lot of these federal projects if things aren't done right. But what we did is we took the politics out of it. We didn't line the pockets of everybody that wanted to get a piece of it. And we did value engineering. We had a firm called O'Sullivan O'Creel that oversaw the accounting and reported directly to the board. And we had a firm called Malcolm Pern. I think it was Malcolm Pern. It might have been someone else, but I think it was Malcolm Pern that oversaw the engineering and reported directly to the board. So we had complete oversight during the whole process. But what we did was we took the politics out of it, so everybody wasn't getting their, you know, all the good old boys weren't getting their pockets lined, and we brought that project in 6 months ahead of schedule and $30 million under budget. So that was a good thing. With all that being said, I would like staff to get back with us and let us know when that expires, because you know, if I'm still here, and I don't know if I will be or not, but I would hope that future board members, if I'm not, will say, hey, this is expiring, we promised the people this would expire, and we're done with it. You know, I don't want us to get to a point where that fee stays on the bill after the time that it was supposed to be.
Would you like to make that in the form of a motion to refer the issue of sunset to staff?
Yeah, but I think they do without it, but yeah, I would like to you know, we're kind of on a different, I don't know if we're on a motion yet or not, but I would like to refer it to committee to find out, to report back to the board when that sewer improvement fee sunsets.
Okay, so you're not making it a motion, you're just making a request. That's fine.
Get off this, I'm gonna,
okay.
or if you want me to now, I can, but I think they'll do it anyway.
I'm going to tell you when they expire here in just a second.
Ms. Campbell, you're recognized.
Okay. Yeah. So, is it me?
Yes, you're
Okay.
recognized.
So I was shocked when you said that it was never going to expire, because it expires in 2029. So it's just a few years down the road now that will expire. And the capital improvement fee is 2028. Now, I may have those backwards, but one is 2029 and one is 2028, according to my calculations. So they will expire, and I agree with Dale, and if you want to make that motion, I'll be happy to second it for you, that we do need those to expire, because we don't need these hoteliers you know, eating that any longer than was originally planned. So, and I do wish we had a hotel on Perdido. We don't yet, but maybe these guys, when that expires, they'll build us one. That'd be nice.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. Mr. Woody.
As more or less has already been mentioned, that sewer improvement fee is directly tied to the debt schedule of the bonds that were issued for the construction of that plant. And right in that, I don't have those notes in front of me. I apologize. Otherwise, I don't have a copy of the CAFR, Comprehensive Annual Financial Plan, with me, but it's in that range of 2029 to 2033 is my recollection. We'll find out exactly what that number is and let you know in the next board report.
Thank you. I see no one else.
I am.
Okay.
Do you see me on there?
No, but I don't see you, but you're recognized.
Okay. So Mr. Patel, a lot of this, to both the Mr. Patels, predates me being on the board, I believe, but Mr. Woody, you did answer some of my questions on how we kind of came up with some of these fees. So they're tied into to the bonds. So the 2028, 2029 bonds are directly tied into, and I guess we kind of did a proportional fee with residential and commercial to cover the bond payments for the sewer improvement fee?
May I reply, Mr. Chairman? That predates me as well, but in my reading of past notes in minutes from those meetings, I believe those rates were set based on a system that identifies the proportional share or use of the system, kind of cost of service-based delivery. So Board Member Perkins, points out that there's different meter sizes that imply certain volumes of usage. Those may not be consistent across the entire year, depending on the type of business or the type of residential home you have, or whether you're here all the time. But they do imply a certain consumption rate. Those various volumes and meter sizes are divided across the entire consumption for the entire year and then annualized. So yeah, there'll be folks on the low side of average or the high side of average that may be impacted disproportionately, but a good faith effort was made to make it proportional across our rate base.
And I'm assuming, are we not reevaluating these on maybe every couple years as far as what the current consumption is? I'm assuming you all, the Mr. Patel and the other Patels are talking about not just the initial impact when you had your sewer impact fee or your water impact fee, but you're talking about the ongoing fee based on consumption. So I'm assuming, are we reevaluating that ECUA, saying, okay, the original consumption was X, and then fast forward to where we are now, is it still, would it meet the I guess the consumption fee requirement today based on what they're using, or do we're pretty much, we set it at the time and then we're just keeping that same rate until 2028, 2029? Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Mr. Woody?
Whether that continues on certainly is subject to board consideration. Up to today's date, although there was an annual review of operations and maintenance rate expenses, which is what the subject of today's meeting is, that capital improvements fee, to my knowledge, has not been adjusted or changed since it was originally set. I think it's prudent to review it on occasion, although the majority of the cost for that is based on the cost of the bond, and that service hasn't changed.
That doesn't change, right? Okay. All right, thank you.
Ms. Campbell, you're recognized.
And I don't think it's based on meter size. I mean, it's based on meter size. It's not based on consumption, right?
Yeah, technically, yes. The end result is a rate associated with each meter size, but in order to come up with a rate for each meter size, there was an analysis where we assumed that a certain meter size is going to have a certain amount of consumption, and we averaged that over across our entire rate base.
Yeah. So yeah, like a smaller hotel would be at a disadvantage over a larger one, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think you all understand that we are sympathetic to what you have faced in the last couple of years. You came to us at the beginning of the pandemic and asked for a refund of your deposits, and we were glad to do it. And I think you bring up a point that, we've never considered as part of the rate. What is the impact on seasonal businesses of these kinds of things? I'm not sure that in the course of today's meeting we can rewrite that formula. That would be huge. But perhaps going into next year's budget, we should look at if there is a fairness issue that we can address with the budget that is not terribly cumbersome but gives relief to businesses, because obviously we're very dependent on the business you provide to this community and the tourism. And thank you for bringing this up to us. I do not see any other speakers, but that does not mean anything. So if there's anyone else from the board is what I'm looking at. Okay, we have one other person who wishes to address us, and you may approach.
How's everybody this rainy day?
Ms. Horning, you're recognized.
I'm sorry?
You're recognized.
Thank you. I'm just looking for my notes here so I can get it all in. All right, Dr. Gloria Horning, 310 South the Villers. Lots of things to talk about. I haven't been down here, or to other government entities, because they have ways of, we can communicate them without coming here, which isn't happening here. But ironically, yesterday on my Facebook page, it came up 3 years ago today. A rate hike. Here we are again. And I'm still not seeing any progress of what those rate hikes are doing. I can't wait to look over this budget, which would have been really grand if it had been on your website. But there's nothing on your website. Zip. Including staff members, budget directors. Mr. Woody, you're not there. I mean, it's a shame. I know this entity really likes to operate in the dark, but you still are a government entity. Our infrastructure is a farce. And unless you're not paying attention, you know this. You know it. It's collapsing. In my community, I have never seen my representative come and talk to my community, not to the community organizations, but to any of the neighbors. Anybody. Are you having troubles? Is there something I can do? Because we all can't come down here at 3:30 in the afternoon. But now that you have that metal thing, maybe you can start having meetings at night, because that was your main concern, Chairperson Benson. During Sally, I emailed all of you. I emailed all of the city. I emailed even FDEP. Do you know that we had 5 sewer breaks on the corners of Zaragoza, Government, and South the Villers? I witnessed them overflowing for 36 hours. I have the video. I have the video of all the condoms, the toilet paper, the female products. I could not get a hold of anyone here. I kept sending these emails out, including to the mayor. Y'all didn't even come down to clean any of the streets. You know who cleaned them? Mayor Robinson. And you know what he said? He said, maybe you could get the organization that's responsible for cleaning up sewage to come down here. And I said, look at the emails. You can see everybody's included. And as of yet, none of our properties have been desanitized. None of them. We're responsible for cleaning up all the human waste and the condoms, and you should have seen the condoms. And the female products, and the toilet paper. We were. I don't know what more I can say about this body that continues to work in the dark and has zero sunshine on their website. I could have looked over this budget before I came here, but nope, it's not on the website. Y'all need to get in the sunshine as you're elected to be. And if you can't handle the the intercoccus that's coming off my property and other properties that are going into Bruce Beach, you're going to have a health lawsuit. Because that's not from stormwater, that's from sewage. And if you haven't seen the numbers, I'll be happy to share the PowerPoints with you. They are extremely high. During a rain event, and tomorrow they'll test, during a rain event, it goes as high as 2,500 ppms. Anybody know what the level is that it's supposed to be? No. 70. 70. Bruce Beach, a public beach. And it's full of fecal matter. Y'all, please, do your jobs.
Ms. Campbell.
Well, I'm sitting here on my cell phone and I'm looking at the 2009 through the 2021 budget on our website. So every budget is on the website, you know. Well, there's a little thing that says search, and if you just put the word budget in, it brings up 2009 all the way to 2021, ma'am.
Thank you, Campbell.
You're welcome. I just wanted to make it clear that our budget is on the website, and it is every single year.
Okay. Mr. Woody.
Thank you. At the same time you're doing that, I was bringing it up here on my own screen.
I look at it every day when I'm looking for things, so I knew it was on my phone.
There's a heading called News and Reports, and it's itemized by year, and for each year you can find that year's budget as well as a capital improvement program budget, as well as a comprehensive annual financial report after the year that it's been completed. This CAFR is always 1 year behind the current year. As far as efforts for being more transparent with the general public, besides always posting all of our announcements and agendas well in advance, and having the attachments available to the public, as does the county and the city. This current process we were just talking about today, adding a new software service that allows you to, as a member of the public, to open up a particular agenda, click on an agenda item, and that will take you to the portion of the video in which those items are discussed, if you're looking at archival footage of meetings as well. As far as sewer breaks, I think probably what she was referring to during the event of Sally were probably overflowing manholes, and both sanitary and stormwater as well. Of course, during the event of Sally, in 24 hours, we had 22 inches of rain, something like that, 23. I'm getting a high sign that my number's too low. So that was certainly a unique and catastrophic event for our entire community. But generally, we've invested millions of dollars in this community into the inflow and infiltration programs that we have throughout our service area, particularly in the downtown area. We've invested millions in lining pipe, which is a means to keep older pipe, particularly clay or brittle pipe that maybe have open joints or cracks here and there, from allowing groundwater to get into that system in order to reduce the extraneous flow that we don't want getting into the sewers system when it rains or when the groundwater table is high. So I think proper credit should be given to the current and even previous boards who have championed those investments in our community.
Thank you, Mr. Woody. I see Mr. Woody, but I don't see anyone else. Do you wish to? Now I see Ms. Campbell. Yep.
I think he's up to.
So weird. I don't see it. Okay, you're recognized.
No, it's just unfortunate that our previous speaker did not stay to listen to our response.
Right.
Like I said, we try to give, obviously, the constituents an opportunity to voice their concerns and so forth, and we're going to listen to those, and then, of course, we want to give you the respectful time, and then, of course, we would like to respond to you, like I said, with an answer. I can personally say that I take calls from residents throughout the day. My wife can attest to I'm answering phone calls at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, whether you live in my district or not. I'm District 5, but I talk to builders, developers. I send countless emails back and forth. Of course, I think I've got Mr. Woody on speed dial, along with Mr. Rudd as well, answering, from developers about issues with apartment complexes to residences who, may have missed a garbage pickup. So I think I speak for all the board members to say we kind of take, sensitivity to the fact that we're not responsive. All of our cell phone numbers are readily available. We answer them, and then, of course, along with the emails. So I just wanted to say that I take pride in returning my phone calls within 24 hours. May not always like the response, but you'll darn sure get one. So anyway, that's all.
Thank you. And your name never popped up, just so you know. Ms. Campbell, yours did.
It's kind of ironic that these gentlemen are here, because of the capital improvement fees and other fees, and those fees are used, the capital improvement fee itself is used to address just what she was talking about as sanitary sewer overflows. So, we've got a few more years of that, and so no one's ever happy. I mean, we're spending your money to fix these things, and it's not quick enough for this lady, who lives in one of the areas that has a lot of sanitary sewer overflow. So we're trying very hard to make both sides very happy, but I'm happy that you guys know now that will expire, and as long as these people are in charge, we're going to make sure they stick to it.
Yeah, Ms. Horning lives at the lowest point of the entire county. It's across from where the old sewage treatment plant was sited, and it was sited there because of gravity. So she's subject to the gravity that goes down. I go there frequently to respond to things because they have problems in that area. So I'm aware that this board, every one of us, goes through our district and meets with people when they have problems. I think this is more political. Anyway, I see no other lights, which doesn't necessarily mean anything. I don't have any speakers on my list. So I will declare this public hearing closed over the open forum. We're calling this an open forum, but it's also the public hearing, so, okay. It is now closed. Thank you all for coming and for expressing yourselves. I think, as you can tell from the comments, you were heard, and you may see some changes before the expiration of the sunset of these particular fees. Mr. Patel, if you wish, you may come back up.
Thank you. Just to Woody, is there any risk that these bonds would be refinanced and extended out, or is that a hard date? And I apologize. I think I was reading somewhere in the Pensacola News Journal at a low point, and it kind of made it sound like the fees were here to stay, and that's why I made that comment. So just to you, would these bonds be refinanced, or if they do get refinanced or anything like that happens to be extended out, I mean, will that impact the sunset of these fees? Thank you.
So, Mr. Woody, you may respond.
Ultimately, that's always a policy decision of the elected board. I will say from an administrative point of view, refinancing of bonds is generally in order to achieve a lower interest rate and therefore provide the advantage to pay off a given indebtedness earlier. Generally, we would keep the P&I payment the same and then take advantage of the lower interest rate in order to shorten the term. Now, there's all kinds of factors given into consideration. I can't speak for what happens 10 years from now, but that's generally the intention. I will say that there was quite a bit of, I believe that we got some state bond support, so the interest rate is remarkably low, even in the current environment. So I'm not sure we'll have many opportunities to really take advantage of any lower interest rates.
I didn't want to open that up. I just want to. You guys are cognizant of that. If
Don't
that
give us
does
any
happen,
ideas.
But on an annual basis,
Bear
we
in
do
mind, I
review
mean,
that.
it seems like you're overwhelmingly in support of having them end as they're supposed to, so if you refinance out, at least, you know, keep to that commitment that I feel that you're making right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. Thank you, Mr. Woody. The next item is the presentation of our Recycle Star, and Ms. Campbell, if you will pick our winner, please.
You want me to read it, or you want to read it?
We do need to vote on the public hearing.
Oh, do we need a vote on that? I'm sorry. Okay, thank you.
If you don't mind.
Okay, we need a motion.
Oh, wait a minute, this is a hearing, this is a hearing.
Madam Chairman,
Yes,
I don't think we vote on the public hearing. I think we vote on the items.
right.
Vote on the items under the hearing, yeah, which
Right.
is the actual rate.
So
I misphrased
we need a
it.
motion on the adoption of special resolution number SR 2159 and SR 2160. Hitting motion, I don't see anything coming up. Okay. And my screen shows waiting. Is there anyone who would like to move to adopt these?
I had a question.
Yes, Ms. Campbell?
On the sanitation, it clearly stated the reasoning, you know, that we spoke about at the previous meetings for, you know, what it was for, but it did not on the wastewater. So I was trying to bring it up. So I had a question there. You know, on the sanitation, I'm fine because it says, I don't know if you can get there, but it clearly states, you know, that it was for increased salary for SEO positions, funding, positions for field audit and evening shifts in the sanitation garage, overtime. There was one thing that said disposal costs at the Perdido landfill, and I had a question, did the Perdido tipping fees go up? So that was one question. And then
Yeah, she actually said 21 days.
additional funds for containers, and I didn't know if the amount of containers we were going to get per year was going up as well.
Mr. Woody, can you respond? Did you hear her questions?
My two questions were, on the explanation to the board for the increase on the sanitation, two of them, one was increased costs at Perdido landfill. Did they go up on their tipping fee?
Their unit price for tipping fees did not go up. However, the volume that we are receiving for our fixed fee on revenue
okay.
has dramatically gone up.
Okay.
So therefore, our overall expenses went up.
Okay. And then the second one was increase for additional containers and commercial vehicles. So are we going to order more containers per year?
Yes, that's primarily focused on metal containers, roll-off container, metal containers of various sorts, 2-yard, 4-yard, 6-yard, 8-yard.
Okay, it just didn't say which kind.
You may remember we have numerous excess carts from Santa Rosa that we brought back, so we're in good shape for carts.
And then on the water, under purpose, okay, never mind. It says outlined on Exhibit A, but I don't, so, it didn't have the reasoning in which we had said was more septic to sewer conversion. And so I just wanted to make sure that we're sticking with that, because it doesn't say it on here like what we've had all along. That's what the additional 2% would be used for. So.
Right.
That was my only question, was why that wasn't on the explanation page.
Okay, Mr. Woody?
Yeah, I will admit that the remarks page would have benefited from having a recitation of our earlier discussions in the minutes, wherein we discussed specifically that the 2.5% was for match monies for the FDEP grants that we've applied for.
Right.
we certainly can add that either as another whereas or as additional remarks if you'd like.
I think that would be a good.
For the record.
Yes, I would like that. I'll support that then.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay. Okay, we're looking for a motion on these two special resolutions. And you're going to have to raise your hand because all I see is a big white screen that says active motion. Mr. Perkins, your light is on, I think. Do you want to make a motion?
You know, this system, we're going to have to really do some stuff with because it's just not working. But I would move the first special resolution, Resolution A, regarding sanitation.
Okay, it's been
I'll
moved.
second.
Okay, and
Sanitation.
the first one. It's been moved by Mr. Perkins and seconded by Ms. Campbell. Okay, and we're ready to vote. Going to have to vote by raising your hands. All in favor? Indicate by raising your hand. Opposed? Okay.
Madam Chairman, can I say something about that one?
Yeah.
Now, you know, the sanitation increase was because we're I'm opposed to most rate increases, but we're in dire circumstances on being able to provide the services that we charge people for. Like right now, we're not providing bulk service pickup. It's suspended, you know, and unfortunately, we had a fire at the recycling facility, so we're not recycling. So I mean, we've got to do better. I know the recycling thing may be beyond our control, but is there any way we can get that bulk item pickup back going as soon as possible? I mean, to me, that's something people pay for. It's something we promise. It's something the city and other haulers don't provide, and it's kind of one of our pride and joys. So, you know, I know we're doing this because we don't really, you know, the cost for labor has gone up so much we can't find anybody to do it right now. But are we addressing it in this fiscal year? I don't want to wait till this budget's actually implemented before it's addressed.
Mr. Whitty?
Yeah, bulk pickup did resume this morning. I apologize, I probably should have sent something out as soon as I got confirmation from that from Keith Kiles. Last week, on Tuesday, we were down by 10 folks in the department. We prioritized, obviously, our other collection services, and we were down for the 4 days of last week, but bulk services back in service today.
That's great news. Good job. I know it's hot out there and there aren't many people to do it right now, but we'd be putting out a press release or something on the web page to let citizens know that the bulk service is reactivated.
Yes, I believe, I think I've talked with communications. Yes, that's already in progress, yes.
Okay, we're moving on to item B. Oh, did you? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Ms.
That's
Campbell?
okay. I just wanted to comment as well that, you know, I did know that bulk pickup started again today, only because I called this morning about a bulk pickup in my neighborhood, so, but I agree with Dale that our service has got to get better on the yard waste and before this budget goes in. So, you know, I don't know if we have any plans, you know, for overtime or you know, more hours or what, but I mean, it's calmed down a little bit the last 2 weeks over the last 2 months, but not a lot.
Mr. Stevens?
No, and I just want to just reiterate what Mr. Perkins and what you said, Ms. Campbell, about about voting for a rate increase, because rate increases aren't popular with anybody, and I can tell you that was a big precursor to getting, you know, my vote on the proposed rate increase was to better the services. And I think, Mr. Williams, you'd kind of made that statement as well, as if we're gonna vote for a rate increase and then we're promising our constituents better service. I'm a consumer first and foremost, so I don't mind paying for something. I just want the service I'm paying for, and I can't tell you the countless calls I get. I know I'm preaching to the choir, day in and day out, I've probably got about 8 or 10 emails I'll be returning after this, and missed calls about maybe missed pickups, whether it be bulk pickups or yard waste, whatever the case may be. And I know we're working to the best of our ability to do everything we can, but we're just going to have to put our heads together and figure out ways to, because the last thing I want to have to answer to my constituents is we end up passing a rate increase and the service does not improve. And then I'm paying an extra $3, which isn't a lot to some people, but if you're on a fixed income, it's a lot. And then I just don't, I'm trying to kind of not put the cart before the horse, but I'm just putting this out here. We've really got it, and I understand it's a challenge, Mr. Woody, with the labor market. As a private business owner myself, every one of my partners are screaming the same thing about getting qualified people in there, trying to fill the positions there. I understand day labor is a challenge. I understand we've talked about, is there an alternative to day labor? Because quite frankly, there's just no day labor to be had in most cases. So somehow we've got to get our heads together, get staff's head together, and kind of figure out, if, when, and if this rate increase does get passed, are we going to be able to deliver on the promise of better service for the added fees? So I'm wanting us to do what I know we're already doing, which is circle the wagons and find out what we're going to be able to do to deliver, to deliver to the ratepayers for the service that they're paying for.
Mr. Williams, I see your light on.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. My comments are similar to all those we've heard, but in addition to working out the problem with sanitation pickup is coupling that with customer service. Quite often, I'm getting calls that they're first calling customer service and not necessarily getting a response to solve the problem or address the problem, so then they call me. So, and quite often customer service, from what they say, may not be responding in kind. So just coupling customer service, knowing what to do, who to contact, especially when they say they want to contact the supervisor. And I would like I've said it before, to just know how we're going to address this period of not having people increasing rates and being more productive on the streets with the services we're providing. So it's kind of trying, but it's trying because this is when leadership has to come up with an alternative way of doing things, and I'm not necessarily hearing that right now. Again, we're talking about rate increase, and I'm not being able to get the feedback from the personnel who is running the show right now. So couple that with customer service would be what I would ask, to see if we can't solve, or at least give people when they call a sense of, okay, my issues are being heard. Like we heard the issues today from constituents who came to speak to us, whether we can make the change, at least they feel as though, okay, bulk services is not being picked up right now. I know that. I'm not expecting a reply, not expecting to get picked up until they tell me again that it's going to be picked up. So those are my constituents' concerns. Those are the comments that I'd like to be able to have answered so that I can give them some feedback. Thanks.
I'm just looking for lights.
Yeah, I have one question down
Ms. Campbell.
There. Yeah, my one question is kind of relates to what you just talked about, Mr. Johnson. We were told when we got this new system that we were going to eventually have a queue. So, you know, in my office, when an order comes in the door, you can look on the queue and see exactly who has it, you know, and what the holdup is. And there's a place to put notes. If you're working on a file and there's a holdup, you know, normally it's 3 days that it goes through that little system, but you can always look and see where it is. And I think the problem here is that this customer service and our sanitation, they don't speak. It's not a something you can follow online, you know? And I think that's where the disconnect is there's no queue where Keith, God bless his heart, can see where something has come in as a missed pickup or what, I mean, can't visually see it. And visually seeing that queue, I think makes things so much easier. And I know that we were working towards that with the new system, but I don't see anybody from IT to see where we are. I know they said maybe September, October of this year we would have that.
I think some of those aspects are the enterprise portions of the Tyler Munis system, which are still a module that's at least well into the fall away. The point that you're making, I see your point. We have a good system that tracks the queue of folks coming in terms of the order in which the calls arrive. Once we, at customer service, receive the call and having the interactions with the customer, we have a good system to track and record, actually literally record the conversation, but also for the customer service attendant to write notes into their file of what the discussion was about and what the action steps were to follow. And then those assignments are made. I think the disconnect that you're trying to point out, and I'm aware of, is that those, particularly on the sanitary side, we really don't have that system out there on Godwin Lane and the ability to be able to close the loop once the task is completed. So while a great majority of them are successfully done and completed, some of them may not, or something, and because there isn't that closed loop, it's hard to know that those got missed.
So are we working on that loop being closed?
Trying to figure out a way to, either through a work order system or something, to make sure that we have a way to have some checks and balances. That's that last final step, that if something gets missed, a message gets delivered to another staff person, and the day gets busy, something gets forgotten, that it doesn't get checked on. Yeah.
Just seems like it would be all red, 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 and then the minute it's taken care of, it's green, 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 green. You know, that's the way it works in my office. It's red, 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 and the minute this one's done, it's green, green, green. So when you look in there at any minute, I can look in there any minute. And we get 300 orders a day sometimes, so I can look in there at any minute and see, boom, where that file is and why it's not out the door. And I know that the system that we have can do that. It's just making it do that. So I don't know.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Mr. Perkins, I see your light.
I sympathize with Mr. Williams' anxiety over what happens between now and the new fiscal year when this money goes into place, but the truth is that like a lot of other things around here, garbage is kind of seasonal. I mean, I think we're just getting through the peak right now. It's the hottest time of the year. It's harder to get labor. There's a ton of economic activity with the restaurants, the beaches, tourism. You know, the summer moves, people moving, schools. You know, so we're naturally going to be starting to catch back up. But what we hopefully will do is next year is have a better contingency plan for the summer. And we also, in Christmas sometimes, around Christmas, we get a lot of recycling, a lot of cardboard and recycling. You know, we got a little bit of a busy trash season then. But I think this year has just been kind of like a domino effect of circumstances. You know, we've had our regular stuff, but this extreme labor shortage and COVID has complicated things. So I wouldn't lose a lot of sleep. I do think it's going to start getting better rather than worse.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. Mr. Williams?
Yeah, thank you. Particularly to Mr. Perkins, just for the commentary, because earlier, even when we were talking about the gentlemen were talking about the impact fees, I was in a learning as well as a listening mode, so that information was helpful in the background on the seasonal trash pickup. But one of the issues I thought may be of help is just it appears the customer service reps are unfamiliar with perhaps the part that the work that sanitation may have to do. So to know a little bit more about what sanitation has to do would help them give a better response. And in times past, historically, they used to include some kind of indoc or intro to the customer service job as far as knowing what sanitation did. So just to educate them so that they can educate the public when they give a response may be another way to add some help in not so many repeat calls and in a proper response for calls. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. I see no one else wishing to speak. We're moving now to item B, adoption of special resolution. Pardon me? We did vote on A. We voted by hand, yeah. But, so now I have a, there we go, adoption of special resolution number SR 21-60. Is there a motion?
How do you want to do it?
Mr. Williams.
Madam Chair, I'll move that we adopt general resolution, a special resolution 2160.
Thank you. Is there a second? Would you take the gavel so that I can second it? Now you can recognize me.
You're recognized.
I will second it. I know. This is very cumbersome. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Yeah, right. I don't see any lights on. Okay, please vote. All those in favor, raise your hand, please. And those opposed. So it passes 4-1. Okay. I hope this system gets better. We already drew the number of the Recycle Star winner, and that is number 19, Miss Jennifer Pease. So Miss Pease will be rewarded for all of her efforts in recycling, and I do hope that everyone is continuing good recycling habits even though our facility is down. I understand we're making progress in getting it back up. The other people who also should be recognized include the following: Alexis Dickey, Iris Ingram, Larry Rowe, Adrian Smiley, LaQuandra Mosley, Anthony Ross, George and Betty Bennett, Mary Petty homeowner Cheryl Zlakis partner, Laura Tackett, Miss Andy Schutt and Larry Legg, Anthony MacArthur, Christopher Maxwell, Debbie Bossum, Wendell Lawrence, Barbara Murray, Kenneth Shaw, Lacey McShane, Susan Stubbins, Jennifer Pease, Cheryl Stone, Lena Murphy, Deborah Bowen, Sylvia Sims, Ernestine Tomasoni, Jackie Van Pelt, Becky Calaro, Walter Gay, and Theodore Morgan. Thank you for your efforts to making this a cleaner community. The next item is approval of the board minutes of the meeting of July 27th, 2021. Does anyone have any corrections or changes to the minutes? Ms. Campbell?
Motion to approve.
Okay, Ms. Campbell moves to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. You recorded, Mr. Stevens. Let's just vote by hand. All in favor indicate by raising your hand. It passes 5-0. Thank you. The next item is the report of the ECUA Citizens Advisory Committee. Ms. Campbell, you are recognized. Mr. Williams did chair that board meeting, so we will let you do the report.
For chairing for me last week.
My pleasure. Madam Chair, the Citizens Advisory Committee met on Tuesday, August the 17th, 2021 at 3 p.m. And we voted on, I don't know, we only had a couple people that were absent. I don't have those names in front of me, but we had a couple people absent. And we voted on General Resolution GR 2154. It was a general resolution authorizing the executive director to execute an interlocal cost-sharing agreement with Escambia County for the cost of water main replacement in the Pine Valley Estate subdivision, authorizing the transfer and use of project funds. And we had general, and it passed by a vote of 9-0 or 10-0.
It was 9-0.
Okay. Okay, 9-0. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then General Resolution GR 21-55. A general resolution authorizing the acceptance of bid and awarding of a contract authorizing the executive director to execute a contract with Brown Construction of Northwest Florida Incorporated for $1,043,075.17 to replace existing transite water mains, CIP number RW0017, Scenic Hills Country Club Estates water main replacement, Phase 1, authorizing the transfer and use of funds. That passed by a vote of 9-0 as well. Final general resolution was GR 2157. It was a general resolution authorizing the executive director to execute a contract with Utility Service Company Incorporated for the miscellaneous valve replacement project 2021, authorizing the transfer of project funds and provide an effective date. This resolution passed by a vote of 9-0. Madam Chair, I'd like to move these items for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? If not, please vote by raising your hand. All in favor? Opposed? It passes 5-0. Okay, the next item.
Madam Chair, that concludes,
Yes,
my report.
Thank you for your report, sir. The next item is the consent agenda, and I can't hear that scream.
I move adoption of General Resolution number GR 2158.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. Is there a second?
Oh, second.
Ms. Campbell seconds it. Any discussion of this? If not, we are voting on General Resolution GR 2158. All in favor indicate by raising your hand. Opposed? It passes 5-0. The next item is the budget report. Mr. Smith, if you'd like to come forward.
Good afternoon. This item is actually the internal financial statement. You know, we normally do a monthly budget actual report, but we provide the financial statement every quarter, so it is a little behind because it takes us time to prepare the statement, but it is as of June 30th, which is 75% of the fiscal year. Everything seems pretty well in line. The first couple of pages are sources and uses for the entire organization, and then broken down between water and then sanitation and the MRF. For the water fund, you're right at 75% on revenue collections for the year, which is perfectly 75% of the fiscal year, so everything's on track there. Little under budget on expenses, which is a good thing. On sanitation, we are over budget on revenue. That's, we're just collecting all the new services and things like that, all of the growth there. But we're also over budget on expenses as well. But the net effect, we're at 81% on revenue and 80% on expenses. So our, I would expect the expenses, mainly the tipping fees and the repairs, to go up just because of how much more service they're having to do. So, but it's everything's in pretty good shape. So if y'all have any questions, I'd be glad to try to answer them.
Does anyone have, Ms. Campbell?
I just was noticing that the sale of the compost was 160%. That was such a smart move out there for them to come up with that.
Anyone else? I sense you're looking for something, Ms. Campbell, so I'm delaying. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, you're not, okay. If no further questions, thank you very much.
Madam Chair?
Report. Oh, yes, Mr. Williams.
Yes, thank you. I see where the impact fees under income and sources are up 162. What impact fees are those?
Those are going to be the water and sewer impact fees. Most of those are new development, new construction. They have to pay an impact fee to connect to the system.
Okay, and they're also different from the sewer impact and capital improvement fees.
The fees that the gentlemen were discussing in an open forum were the sewer improvement fee. I think they did mention that they have to pay an impact fee on new construction, but I think the main point of what they were talking about was the sewer improvement fee, and that the sewer improvement fee is on their monthly bill.
Okay, okay.
That's a recurring fee. The impact fee is a one-time fee.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. No one else? Okay, thank you, Mr. Smith. The next item is the Executive Director's Report. Mr. Woody, you are recognized.
Well, item I mentioned, I apologize that our PrimeGov software did not really shine tonight. We've had some challenges. The feature that we've struggled with today for some unknown reason has been the feature where when it comes time to provide a motion and a second, that should automatically populate and show up on your screen for whomever chooses to provide a motion in a second, and then we then advance to a screen in which you can vote, and then that's automatically tabulated and also shows up on your screen. For some reason the software is not advancing that portion this evening, so my apologies that that has not occurred. We've been in contact with our vendor live while we've been on the meeting, and probably the only way to reset that would be to reset the system, but then our video and agenda would not be in sync. So since it was a short agenda, we've chosen to go ahead and complete the agenda as is. We will investigate and hopefully be performing better at our next meeting. That's really all I have.
Thank you. And Mr. Beasley became ill during the meeting, so he will not be with us. I don't believe he had a report this month anyway, so that is fine. We have no one who has asked to address anything on unfinished business or new business. Would anyone like to have any board communications?
I'd like to thank my constituents, and I'm sure everybody feels the same way, for being so understanding as we've gone through this very difficult year with sanitation, with COVID, and people out and shortage of laborers. And I find it amazing that when people call me and you explain to them what's going on and why, or they email you and you explain to them what's going on and why, then they're very understanding. So, and I just want to thank my constituents in District 1 for being so understanding of what's going on and why, and to know that we're trying to address it as quickly as possible.
Thank you for those remarks, Ms. Campbell. Mr. Perkins?
Well, I just wanted to express a little bit of concern about the PrimeGov thing. Now, in committee, it was working where we would get prompted and it would show who would vote and we could see attachments. I don't know if anybody knows, but we're unable to pull up the attachments or to view
Right.
them at all, you know, so it's been very frustrating, because I could view them, you know, from my home and office, I could view them, get on there, look through the agenda, view the attachments and stuff, and so I didn't print anything out, so then I come here, and I can't see anything, so it's really frustrating as a board member to work without being able to reference. I mean, I know it's there because I've already read it, but without being able to reference it while we're talking about it. And so, if we have to, and I know this would probably be hard, because, you know, we have to have sunshine notices and advertise and everything to meet in person, but if the staff can't get people up here to practice and do these and have it working, I'd be willing to meet sometime if we have to go to 2 o'clock in the morning to get it working, because I don't think it's fair to our ratepayers to, you know, for us to sit up here and just kind of fumble through like this. You know, we can get our consultant here or whatever we need to do, but we got to have it working better than this. And so if we need to come in, I just want to say that I'm willing to, if we need to do a practice run sometime and have just a you know, I mean, it's going to kind of look silly advertising a non-agenda, but, you know, if we have to have a workshop where we just practice with this stuff.
On the attachments, I think you could see them if you push the little, if you hit the attachment button and then the little eyeball looking thing to the right of the like staff report. You know, over to the right where it says staff report.
Gotcha, okay. Yeah, so that's operator error there apparently.
So I might suggest to follow up.
Yeah,
Mr.
good.
Mr.
Got it, I
Perkins.
got it. Thank you, that helps me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was
Gotcha.
doing the same thing, yeah. So what if we came in before the next board meeting 30 minutes early and just did a walkthrough where we ask the questions and make sure this thing is working properly? Do you think 30 minutes would give us time to, you know, any glitches like the one with the eyeball? I didn't know the eyeball. I've been clicking on attachments this whole meeting. There may be things that we need to know that we don't know. And also staff can work out any of the problems with the vendor too. Mr. Woody?
In order to provide enough time to, sorry, am I recognized? In order to provide enough time to actually step through a few items on the agenda, get questions answered, and be able to start our meeting on time, if you can afford it, I would recommend an hour rather than a half hour.
Yeah, rather than us look like Keystone Cops at the
And
next
that'd be at the next
meeting,
CAC.
I would be happy to do that. What about the rest of you?
It'd be tough, I'm sorry.
Good.
I'd probably have to come about halfway through it. I can get here about half an hour early, but I'm contractually committed, you know, during Tuesdays to be at the school I work at. So I could get here a little bit early, but an hour early would be stretching it for me.
Okay.
But if y'all want to go ahead and get started without me, I mean, that's
Sure,
fine.
sure.
Yeah, am I right? Okay. And I could probably pull that off, but I would like to kind of recap so far. So the attachments, just to kind of narrow down what the issues we're having right now. So the attachments, we figured that out. It's not the paperclip, it's the eyeball. We got that. The only thing I'm having issues with right now is, just so our IT folks know, to kind of narrow down the issues, is being able to be recognized, being able to click on voting. I can't vote, and when I'm clicking on to be recognized, Chairwoman Benson's not seeing me on hers. So those are just to kind of give some feedback to the IT department. We're not able to see who voted or able to vote via this new system, and then the chairwoman here is not able to see us on her screen, showing that if we voted or if we're looking to be recognized to speak.
And that's weird, because I can see, like push on yours, I never did see your name come up. I saw Dale's.
Yeah, I saw both yours. I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I've lost the whole thing.
So anyway, just a little feedback for our IT department.
Madam Chair.
Just a second. Yes, Mr. Williams.
Yeah, Madam Chair, just to show some support to the staff. I was here a couple of weeks during the preseason, working up to game day, and I know they did go through the preparations to be ready. And it worked better on game one than game two. And I think one of the things you did do that you didn't do today was you reset. You restarted. Because when we first saw that first initial vote person and it didn't come up, we had to restart. So if we can come in early and do that initially before the next meeting, I think the system will go a lot better. And I am confident in the people who are working behind the scenes to make it go better. So it's just the IT part of it.
I did want to say on the attachments, if you do the eyeball, it will allow you to write all over it. You know, you can write on it, highlight it, and what have you. If you do the download, it comes up as a separate attachment, and you click on it on the bottom.
Yeah.
The second thing over, not the little eyeball is what I'm calling it, but the next thing over is a download, and it brings it up as a document.
Okay.
If you'd rather, and you can zoom in on it.
Okay, so the consensus is that we will come an hour early for the next board meeting and kind of walk through.
CAC meeting?
Do you want to do it before the CAC?
CAC.
Yeah, CAC, that way everybody can see it.
If that's okay
Okay,
with everybody.
that's fine. Okay. And Ms. Campbell, did you have something more?
Oh, no.
Okay, all right. Okay, we come now to our second open forum. Do we have anyone wishing to address us in open forum? If not, we are adjourned.